Hi, this is Anna London with Cyvergence, and in this episode, we're going to talk about Black Swan events. Really what it means, right? We're talking about some examples of Black Swan events, especially as it relates to the financial industry, okay? The financial markets are the context in which Black Swan events are most commonly referred to, okay? In the investing world, a Black Swan event is an extremely negative event or a happening, okay, that's basically unexpected. And it results in a decisively negative, impact on the markets, and it's often hard to fully conceptualize in terms of scope. Okay, the term Black Swan event quickly grew in use and popularity after Nassim Nicholas Taleb, a prolific Wall Street trader, wrote about the Black Swan theory in his book, Fooled by Randomness, which was published back in 2001. Okay, in relation to the financial markets, a Black Swan event is supremely negative, leaving widespread destruction and notoriously uncertain outcomes. And in order to be characterized as a Black Swan event, the event must A, have a drastically negative widespread effect, B, be marked with a level of uncertainty, and C, lead to the exhibition of hindsight bias, being proven predictable based solely on information learned in hindsight. The current, or I shouldn't say current anymore, but the previous COVID-19 pandemic, era is heavily characteristically categorized, if you will, as a perfect example of a Black Swan event, okay? Even though it wasn't stated as such in the news, but it had a profound impact, okay? Now let's talk about classifying Black Swan events. So, look, in order for an event to be considered a Black Swan, Taleb listed 3 different elements or attributes, according to his book, that the event must possess. So each Black Swan event must, of course, have the potential to exhibit drastic, wide-reaching consequences, if I can spit it out, have a nature of unpredictability, and, of course, like I was mentioning earlier, is typically be accompanied by hindsight bias. And, meaning that basically once the event has passed, that many individuals tend to rationalize that the event was actually predictable, due only, though, to the fact that they were or are now aware of what the outcomes from the said event are. So let's talk about living in a Black Swan event. The world is, currently changing, and the world we live in, and of course, and after, one of the best examples of a Black Swan event was that good old novel coronavirus, right? The COVID-19, because that met all the criteria Taleb had outlined for a Black Swan event in accordance with his book. It certainly meets the unexpected requirement as the pandemic arose suddenly, and it quickly became apparent that no country was prepared to deal with it. Every day, we learn a little more about the catastrophic effects caused by the global pandemic, The U.S. gross domestic product fell 4.8%, back in 2020. Stock markets around the world were down almost 30% since their highest values, in the Trump era when Trump was president, right? So everything was good, actually, financially. If you actually go, no matter if you hate him or love him, if you actually go back to fact, I always look at fact, which is undeniable. But the economy was actually very good. Gas prices were very good. Stock market was very good. And it was the pandemic that hit that caused a quagmire of chaos, right? The Black Swan event that we're talking about. The number of first-time unemployment filings, of course, back in 2020 surpassed 30 million, in just 6 weeks, meaning that nearly 20% of the United States workforce was without work, at that time. That was a huge, huge increase, and that was due to the pandemic. A lot of businesses folded, will never return, especially the restaurant business or what have you. Now, they pivoted to, the DoorDash and what have you, the delivery, which was a good thing, but some weren't able to do that. And those that were not able to evolve with the times, right, did not survive, Companies were forced to lay off or furlough workers, and found it difficult to stay afloat. And many of those small businesses were facing bankruptcy and were not did not really have the resources to reopen, even when the government gave them the green light, remember? Because there were a lot of people that were working from home or even with the quarantine, et cetera, right? And they weren't able to employ folks anyways. They had to lay a lot of people off. And of course, the most terrifying feature of that COVID-19 pandemic was the sheer uncertainty that surrounded it, right? The nationwide shutdown, right? In fact, the global shutdown wreaked havoc on personal and corporate finances, as a whole. And, the government was attempting to counteract with trillions of dollars in stimulus financing, but it got really bad, okay? It got really bad. And where does all that money come in? You can only do so much, and it ends up bubbling up anyways. So you just can't make money out of thin air, okay? So, the death toll rose, to an unbelievable amount. It was a huge pile of economic wreckage, right? And of course, when the dust finally settled, right, there were a lot of people that didn't come out of that. And of course, the Great Recession, right? So before even the COVID-19 outbreak, the most notable example, in most recent years for some people, of a black swan event was the global financial crisis of 2008, precipitated by the sudden severe crash of what had previously been a booming housing market. So remember the housing market boom and crash. The trouble started, after years of steady growth following the dot-com bubble at the turn of the century. Unemployment rates were high at that time. Inflation rates were low. Lending institutions in the country as a whole fell into a pattern of financial complacency. Okay, and I think that's what happened too pre-pandemic, because the same thing. Life was good. Life was good. Even gas was like $1 something, like under $2. It was like cheap. Now everything's expensive. Gas prices, groceries, everything else. Inflation is high. I don't care what you say. And I believe we're in a recession right now. Okay, honestly, as much as everybody tries to purport Bidenomics. Bidenomics is a negative thing. I wouldn't be bragging about how well the economy is going, because look, if you're not sitting in the ivory tower, every single one of us peasants are dealing with the onslaught of rent hikes and grocery bills that are double, if not triple, what it was right before the pandemic. Gas prices, everything is expensive. Everything is. What isn't expensive, It's horrible. And especially for people that haven't, are still making the same salary, same wage as they were, right? And you have inflation that rose, to levels that, really we hadn't seen before, at least some of us in lifetimes, but it hit us pretty hard, and families have been hit pretty hard, right? Everything increased, and so it has a trickle-down effect, right? It was bad, okay? So, that complacency we talked about, right? So we fell into complacency, and interest rates fell at that time, okay, more than 4% from 2001 to 2008, okay? We're still talking about the global financial crisis of 2008. And there's plenty of quote-unquote easy money, right, available to both individuals and businesses at that time. But primarily, as a result of the federal government's urging, U.S. lenders significantly relaxed their standards regarding qualifying for mortgages. So individuals with poor or non-existing credit were approved, okay, for mortgages on homes that were, frankly, way outside of their ability to pay, way outside of their budget, okay? So the subprime mortgages quickly became a big, fat balloon just waiting to burst. And as payment dates passed and mortgages began to go into default by the bucketful, lending giants such as Lehman Brothers began to buckle and collapse. And then the U.S. government then was forced to approve the Troubled Asset Relief Program, TARP. Okay, and that back then was an initiative that cost nearly $1 trillion to bail out major banks and establish liquidity to prop up the country's economy. And in an attempt, okay, to prevent a similar situation from reoccurring, governments worldwide massively increased regulations for financial institutions, placing stricter guidelines on which types of and how much debt they could take on, okay? So, there's a lot, okay? There's a lot, dealing with this. So anyways, I hope this was helpful. The term Black Swan event has been passed around a lot, and a lot of people really don't know what it means. So I just kind of wanted to lend some insight to that from my understanding of Black Swan. And again, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go look it up yourself, right? But I kind of want to just provide that, provide some context to that term, right? A lot of people pass around a lot of different things, but it means different things to different people. But in the finance world, again, it has to have three to be, in a Black Swan event. There must be three elements or attributes, right? So in summary, must have the potential to exhibit drastic, wide-reaching consequences, have a nature of unpredictability, and typically be accompanied by hindsight bias, right? Meaning that, once that event had passed, that many individuals tend to rationalize it, that the event was actually predictable, okay? And preventable, by the way, as well, due to only the fact that they are now aware of what the outcomes from said event actually are, right? So hindsight's 2020, right? But fail to plan to fail, right? But yeah, there's a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different red flags also that during pandemic, post-pandemic, and all this money we want from the government, give me a break. It's going to come from our taxes. And who's paying with the majority of the taxes? It's the upper to middle class, right? We're the ones actually paying the majority of the taxes. Because really everybody wants to tax the rich, but a lot of rich actually, use the tax code to their benefit, right? And it's legal. It's not like they're doing anything illegal. They're following the legal means. But they also put their money in assets, stocks, homes, right? A car really is not an appreciating asset. It's a depreciating asset. For all of you getting BMWs and Mercedes and everything else, I think twice, right? Go buy yourself a home or land or something, right? Stocks, something, an asset that you can provide value to, right? Establish a trust, right? Do all these things, right? And of course, don't listen to just the everyday person, because they're going to give you what we called in the Army like barracks lawyer kind of guidance, right? Very poor guidance. There's a lot of people trying to stand up, of course, financial, when you hear the term financial freedom, run, okay? Because that's more like an Amway, MLM kind of thing. Whenever you hear financial freedom, that kind of stuff, run, because it's more than likely a scam, okay? And, look at who's even teaching the class, because if they're not millionaires or billionaires themselves, okay, then you might not want to take any advice from them, because, it's like somebody is saying that they're going to do PR or marketing for you, like social media marketing, and supposedly they've done all this stuff for different clients. I get that all the time because I have a business, right? People are saying, I can help you brand recognition, do this, that, and the other thing. And, I can help you increase your followership by 100,000 followers in just, 5 weeks or whatever. But then I go and look at their own account and they have, 400, 500 people, 500 followers, even less than what I have right now, right? So my point to that is that trust but verify these people. And even people on X Spaces or even Clubhouse, a lot of people stand up different rooms and profess to have all this knowledge when in fact they don't. Okay, they don't. They leave a double life, they profess to be something that they're not. And then they're giving you really bad guidance that people are just, chomping at the bit to receive and absorb. And then they go and implement these things in their bad strategies. So again, do yourself a favor, do research on the faculty, the teacher, the instructors, right? Make sure there are bona fide subject matter experts in their own field. And again, don't get any finance advice from people that are not millionaires or billionaires themselves, okay? Or at least have a decent living, right? Or what have you, right? So even investors, there's a lot of investors. There's people that they claim they're investors, but then when you look like where they're living, or like they don't even have any money, how are they going to invest, okay? So, look at, just make sure that you trust but verifying everybody, because not everybody is as they seem, and not everybody is as they crack up to be, Not everybody's experts in everything, right? So again, even the Black Swan events, I'm not a financial analyst by any means. I'm giving you what I know it to be, what I understand it to be, right, in the financial markets. But go look at it yourself. Now, for subject matter expertise, I'm a cyber expert. So you come to me for cyber expertise, and guidance. Okay, I'll give you that all day, every day. Okay, I'll write for you articles and all kinds of things. I'm a writer. Okay, you want a poem? I'll even write a poem for you, right? It's going to cost you money, though. I'm not going to do anything for free anymore, right? But anyways, like I said, just trust but verify everything, on the internet, everything you do. Many times I don't even waste my breath talking in X spaces because it's just a lot of mumbo jumbo, right? A lot of bogus stuff, and you can't really debate with idiots. Sometimes people just aren't going to listen anyways, even when you guide them to the right golden nuggets, if you will, of information, give them the resources, show them. Some people just don't want to believe it anyway. So why waste your time with people like that, right? Really, honestly, to me, it's a waste of time. I listen for edutainment, or I should say, entertainment, because it's really not edutainment for me on X Spaces. Okay, there's some people that kind of know, but then again, I always look them up though. I always look up their background and stuff. Are they really who they say they are, right? Because I don't care if they have 87,000 followers or not, or if they have 1 million followers. It doesn't make them experts. Give me a break, okay? Look at the cultist, behavior. The cult leaders get a lot of followers and they end up being bogus. A lot of them are bogus, right? So, and they have millions of followers typically, Amway even got huge and it was bogus. It was an MLM, a pyramid scheme, right? A multi-level marketing kind of scheme, right? Ripped off a lot of people, right? So there's a lot of that out there. And even if you're introduced to somebody, even if it's somebody that but they introduce you to somebody, check out that other person. Don't just take that referral for face value, right? Just be careful is all I'm trying to say, especially with your finances, right? You can't even afford to make even a minute mistake anymore because every penny counts, right? For us, every penny counts, right? Anyways, just hang in there, do what you got to do. But take advice from bona fide experts is my point. Not people trying to fake it till you get there, fake it till you make it. No, not those people, because they haven't made it. Go do some research on people that have actually made it. And don't have any, are not sought after by the FBI, don't have money laundering type of schemes or been in jail or things like that, right? Be very careful on that too, because if they're up under investigation, allow the investigation to complete, okay? Look at the outcome of that investigation. Don't prejudge anybody either. But allow that investigation to complete, okay, and finalize. And then whatever the outcome is, right, then you can take and say, okay, do I want to deal with that person or not, right? If they got in trouble for money laundering or whatever it is, right? Do you really want to deal with that person business-wise? I would think not, okay? So, and everybody's going to say they're innocent. Let's be real. Everybody's going to say, oh, no, yeah, the FBI is after me. I don't know why. I'm innocent. Yeah, okay. In some instances, maybe. But in most instances, not. Every criminal says they're innocent, right? Every criminal says they are. Oh, I didn't do it. What? Me? No, I didn't do it. Right? That was Joe Smo down the street, That wasn't me. No. Or that was Jane Doe down the street. That wasn't me. I didn't do it. Right? When in fact they're the ones, videos and all, right? And what have you. So, and again, just be very careful. Okay. Trust but verify everything. Friends, family. Hey, even your family can rip you off. My sister, actually 3 years younger than me, actually took my IDs and racked up a lot of debt in my name when I was young. And it took me forever to pay off. So, now I should have actually contacted law enforcement about her. But, the problem is then your family, right? And you don't want to do anything. But I ended up having to pay the price because she killed my credit initially, right? So she took everything. She racked up a bunch of debt. She caused a lot of blemishes on my credit report. And then I ended up having to pay the price for it, right? I ended up having to clean it up. I ended up having to pay all that stuff that she racked up in my name, right? Because we looked kind of similar at the time. We were younger. We're only 3 years apart. And she took everything. So, I came back from it, but it took me a while to come back from it, and it set me back a little bit, right? So, so even your family, don't trust your family either, because not everybody in the family, right? We talk about black swans, there's black sheeps of the family, right? Or whatever. I'm a black sheep though in a good way, because I do what I do different than my family, right? I'm a techie, number one, I'm a nerd, and most of my family, like, is in medicine or something like that, but I went the techie route anyways. But I'm just different. I just do things different. Not to say what they did was bad. I think medicine, I'm not even saying medicine is bad. I think medicine is an awesome, very noble career path to take. I mean, my mom was a nurse, and she even came off of retirement to help people going through COVID, right? So the COVID situation. So God bless anyone in that field, because it takes a lot. It takes a special person for teaching, for medicine, right? And what have you. So anyways, with that said, do your research. Look up what black swan means, okay? And, I know you probably saw the movie, was it Black Swan? But with the ballet, right? The two ballet females in the movie. But, this is different, though. This is different. And, so just look it up and see what you think. Anyways, with that said, I'll land my plane, as they say, right? I won't talk anymore, but just be careful, okay? Be careful with who you're learning from, right? Who you surround yourself with, right? Not everybody, friends, family, and otherwise can be trusted anyway. So trust but verify everything, every transaction you do with people, financial and otherwise, who you allow in your circle, right? So you don't get duped into implementing something that you shouldn't even really be implementing by people that have no idea what they're doing anyways, right? They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to purport themselves as some subject matter expert. I know everything about investing and this and that. And how many times have I gotten on things with pitch decks? And some people do know, but some people don't. There's rooms actually that they purport to be an investor, but they're really not. You do some research on them. They don't have anything, nothing. Okay. So, you can do background checks on people. Like, you go InfoTracer. There's a lot of different ways, trust me. There's a lot of open source intelligence out there that you can navigate through. So don't just take what anybody says at face value. You go look them up. Trust but verify. Me too. Go ahead. Go do it, because I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't, right? Cyber stalk me in a good way, right? By researching and analyzing who you're getting information from, who you're listening to, who you're allowing in your circle, okay? Both physically and logically. All right, so anyways, I hope this was helpful. With that said, enjoy the rest of your week, okay? And as I think of other podcast, ideas, or if you think of any yourselves too, just ping me, DM me, and let me know what you want to hear about, right? Because I talk about cyber, I talk about psychology, I talk about a variety of things, when there's something on my chest or on my mind that I feel that, I just want to, it's very therapeutic for me, right? Because then we'll just talk it through. Whether you're listening or not, it does help me, I'm not going to lie. So anyways, with that said, I hope these are providing value to you. And I'll land my plane at this very moment. All right. So with that said, this is Anna London with Cyvergence signing out.